Hi folks, welcome to the Dutchman's Journal, and this is a part of my Gardening with the Dutchman series. And today I'm going to take a little time. I'm kind of in between my trapping in the morning and gardening in the afternoon period. It's February 11th and it's 68 degrees here, so I'm going to take advantage of this weather and be working on my garden in the afternoons. What I have on the ground here is what is referred to as a garden planting guide, and it's marked off in 2-inch increments in my case, and then I have 4-inch markings, 6-inch markings, and then 12-inch markings. And I use this in my garden to do my spacing of my plants so they come out at a uniform kind of design. In the back of this I also have a guide, which is nothing more than line marks again that indicate the spacing of rows if I want, and they go from 3 inches on up to 24 inches because no row that I would be growing is larger than 24 inches. And in between I have 18 inches, 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, and 4, and 3. And I just want to show you how I made this because it's very simple, and it's a very, very handy tool to use in the garden. And I find it almost indispensable because it makes everything go quick. And like I said, I'm retired, but I don't have any time anymore. Since that I retired, I'm out of time. So I want to do things quickly and efficiently as fast as I can. So let me show you how I made up this little guide. This here is a fence picket. I got them at my local big box store, and they range in price from $1.50 to $2.50. You can make your guide out of any piece of scrap wood you have laying around. I do not recommend using either plywood or any of that particle board because it will not last. What you're going to do first, of course, is cut this board so that it's in a length that is useful for you in your garden. If you're in my particular case, my beds are 4 foot wide and 8 foot long. My guide 46 inches. That way I have a little bit of wiggle room there to use it and slide it back and forth. So I'm going to tell you to go ahead and figure out what you need and then cut your length to the appropriate size. First, I scribe a line 1 inch all the way down the length of the board. I then mark at 2-inch intervals down the length of this line. At each mark along the scribe line, I drill a 3/4 inch hole. Using the scribe line as a guide, I cut through the center of each hole. Board now has 3/4 inch half circles spaced 2 inches apart going down the length of one side. At each half circle, I scribe a line and mark it with the appropriate distance from the end. I'll then flip the board over on its back and mark distances from the end up to 24 inches. You're done, so let's see how it works in the garden. This is pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to show you how this is used. First, let's say I'm going to make my row out 6 inches. I take my marker and I mark it. Then on this side, do the same thing. I now have a space that goes across 6 inches out from the edge of the bed, and I now have a row in there. Now in my particular case, for my rows, you can take this edge here and sharpen it and make it a point, but my ground is so soft here because I'm using compost that I don't do that. I just use the flatness of the wood to make my seeding row. Now let's say I wanted to come out, oh, let's say 10 inches from this row. Do the same thing. Got 10-inch mark on that side. 10-inch mark on that side. Now I'm going to plant plants. Let me flip this over. I'm going to plant my plants. If I want to plant them every 2 inches, I just take and make a little mark, a hole there. I'm using an old discarded knife, razor blade knife, as my what they call a dibble, and it just works fine for me. If I wanted to make these every 4 inches, you do the same thing every 4 inches. Now my spacing is every 4 inches. If I wanted to make them every 6 inches, follow through. Everything is 6 inches. So now everything is in a nice line, a nice uniform row. You don't have things wiggling along, going off to the different angles. And it's just a simple, inexpensive tool that you can make yourself. Well, here's my seeding update that I'm going to provide you with. On February 5th, I went ahead and planted these seeds. Today is February 11th, so in reality, only 5 days has gone by, not 6. And I just want to show you that we already have germination here. This is kale popping up. Got another one back there. Over here, this is collards. I got collards coming up. And this one here, this here is broccoli. I have my broccoli coming up 5 days. This is what makes gardening, I don't know, for me so interesting, because from that little tiny seed, I have the emergence of a plant which is going to grow up and provide me sustenance. And gosh, it's just absolutely, for me, absolutely amazing. And the more I do this, and I've been doing this for a long time, the more I do it, the more I appreciate this great earth we live on, in this great country that we live in.